Are you a buffet? Because I'd like to lay you on a table and
Hey, just a real quick announcement for anyone who's actually watching this afterwards, not live. So anyone who's watching the video up on YouTube, you can feel free to skip ahead by about like 5 minutes and then we'll be into the practice session. Or if you want to skip the practice, you can fast forward by about half an hour. It's a 30-minute practice and it just got going 2 minutes ago. And then you'll jump right into the qualifying session. And if you want to skip the qualifying session, you can go ahead by about 40 minutes, and that should be pretty close, maybe 45 minutes to the race start. So just giving you a heads up in case you don't want to watch the practice or quali. So without further ado, I'm just going to keep playing music for the next couple minutes while I get everything finalized, and we will be on with the practice session. Thanks for chiming in.
Green light, go, go, go. While I blame the world's neglect, then I shine right back again. So I'll hold back, and you should know that no God was never gone, just like regrets. So I'll go back. Oh, would it guide me to forget the time I lost with no regrets? Won't let me forget.
Hello everyone, sorry about that little mix up there. Welcome to Odyssey Racing League GT3 EU Championship. We're just in the practice session now, just letting the auto cam do its thing, follow a couple cars around while we let everyone start to join the session. We're just in the practice session now, and this is where everyone typically joins in, so we'll be getting going in about half an hour with the quali. I'm just getting one or two quick things sorted out here on my end, and we will be right into it. Just bear with me as you watch this Ferrari drive off the track. That was interesting. Seems to have good pings, so I'm not too concerned about that happening in the race, hopefully. And hopefully it's something that's local. You're just adjusting my overlay. There we go. I got the right one. We're in business, guys. We're in business. So, here we are, week 2 of season 6 in Odyssey Racing League. It is our 6th season run in ACC, which is pretty remarkable, honestly. It's been quite the journey. I joined in season 2 myself and watched this thing grow out quite a lot. I think when I first joined, there was like 3 races every week, and 20-30 people on track. Now we've expanded more internationally. We have 3 races in just North America, or in the Americas alone, 1 in EU, 1 in Asia Pacific and Australia. We also have a GT Academy on Mondays where we have some of the pro and esports drivers work with some of the rookie and AM drivers to help improve their skills, and do a couple sprint races for fun after that, which is a really good time. Thanks for streaming and commentating, APAC. Very much appreciated for your efforts. No problem, dude. I mean, I will say I'm going to be tired as heck today, because for me that was at 3 a.m. And even right now this is 7 a.m. for me, so I'm going to be doing a day sleep. And have quite a day here. So, yeah, no problem though. I kind of had fun pulling an all-nighter. I haven't done that since I was a kid. And spending the night doing video game stuff with the boys. So, yeah, no problem at all. So like I said, right now we're just kind of watching the practice. Only a few cars on the grid at the moment, but the count will go up shortly. It typically will start to get full near the end of practice when everyone else starts to join. And there is Cryo knocking out all those cones. Pretty sure you're not supposed to hit those, but he does his own thing. He's got his own rules out there. So when there's 10 minutes left of practice, the guys will be corralled into the briefing channel, and I'll be giving out the driver's briefing when there's about 7 minutes left. So in 20 minutes from now, these guys are going to get a driver's briefing, and then we'll be on the way with the qualifying immediately after. Well-earned sleep. Certainly tricky, but very fun conditions. Yeah, dude, it's, I'll just say rain races are not my favorite. I particularly do enjoy the ones that are like half wet, half dry, where it's like just a wet track and it eventually gets a dry line and it throws everybody off, and some people get into slicks and switch into wets, whatever. But these types of conditions, not too fond of them. Although it seems to look alright out there for the EU guys. It's still wet, but it doesn't look as bad as it was for the APAC race. But practices are very misleading because it's a whole day earlier than all the other events. So with all of our championships in Odyssey Racing League, all of them are split races between multiple classes of drivers. So here today we have Pro-Am. For those that are new, the white box numbers are the pros and the red are the Am. So you'll be able to know like who's who out there, as well as keep in mind that they are on different championships, so you don't always see the red and white numbers like battling each other too much. I know for myself, I typically let the pro drivers pass me just to make sure that they don't have any time wasted. Alright, I'm going to just send a quick announcement to everyone to remind them about the briefing. About 15 minutes away from the briefing. Alright. Cool. Just sent them a quick reminder to let them know where we're at. Still have 7 cars on track, which is a bit of a shame. Last week I think there was like 17 or something. We did expect to have more, so I'm just hoping that we have some late joiners. Yeah, same Daniel. That's what I literally looked down at your comment as soon as I said that. Yeah, I think there's supposed to be. I mean, dude, I mean, not now, it's too late, but if you want to join this series, you can feel free to, just as long as everything's sorted out with your times. But I'm sure there's going to be a couple stragglers showing up in the end. For APAC had a different sign-up structure this season, just due to the urgency of getting some new drivers for it. So you will have to run the license laps if you want to enter any other championships. I'm sure they'll come out relatively the same, but the bigger reason behind it, more than anything, is to help set up like the sample of our league. So we know we have a better database and can classify people easier. The more people we have in ORL with time submitted, the easier it is to class all the new members. So yeah, if you don't mind just running those license laps, then it works across the board. Then you can enter any other championship, and hopefully as long as we keep with the same system, we should be using that same system next season, so you may not have to even submit anything next season. Based on that. So in short, yes, it'd be preferred if you do that. So we're getting down close to the time. 20 minutes until we get into the qualifying session. Sounds good, man. Absolutely sounds good. Yeah, and no real rush on it. It just has to be done 24 hours prior to a race. Sorry, before a race, not after a race. Before 24 hours before the race, just to give the guys enough time to go through the numbers and class you, and then send you all the info to all the championships and all that. Like, you know, just making sure you know for certain series if it's silver, pro, and rookie am instead of just pro am. So yeah, but I look forward to it for sure. Let me know if you have any questions. Either myself or Neil will be there to answer any questions you have about your registration process. It really does to appear more dry out there in this session. I know it's still raining, but happy to support more series for you guys. Absolutely, man. And feel free to like invite people. Like if you're in open lobbies and you have a good race with somebody, or you know you see a thread in Reddit where someone's looking for a league or looking for help. Like, we have a league that offers help, the academy, everything. So we always encourage bring more people in. We want this to grow. We want this to be a good place. We're working on really big stuff in the background. We're trying to really stand out from the crowd. I believe, and I can't say an official word on this, but I believe we are, if not one of the biggest and not the biggest, one of the fastest growing ACC leagues out there. So lots to offer. So if you have homies in another, I don't want you to poach from another league, but if you have homies looking for somewhere else to race, yeah, bring them over. The more the merrier. I mean, as you can see here, we got another one here, another joiner. Looks like Chris Rise is hopping in as the 8th driver. So yeah, you know, as we get closer down to the wire, we'll probably have a few more people join up here. I'm hoping that we have at least 12 to 15 on the low end. I think we can get like 17 in here, but we'll really have to see. But 10 minutes away from doing the 10 minutes away from the briefing. So hopefully a couple other guys end up joining for that. This will be a fun one for Blythe and Logan, as we have 2 AM class drivers right now. I have been inviting already since I joined. Amazing. You are an MVP. Absolutely one of the best. We appreciate it. We do notice that people are sharing the word, because we do get people joining every single day, which is amazing. Like, we have 2 or 3 people, even up to like 10 people joining every day. Obviously there's a few people that leave, come and go, but it's been pretty rapid with the growth. Alright, so the fastest lap out there right now is a 2:04.4. That's already 3 seconds faster than the guys in the 8-pack race earlier, so the track is definitely more dry than it was before. Yeah, Cryo's fastest lap before I believe was a 2:07, and he's in a different car now and still doing like a 2:05. So, yeah, it really is a Totally different ball game out there. Depending on how many guys join the race and how the conditions hold up, you know, we may actually get to see at least one race in this week of Nürburgring where people actually change tires. Maybe I'm being too hopeful. I probably am. But hey, you never know. Yeah, I did notice that. It was slippery for you guys. Very, very slippery. It was for us too on in the AM race. In the AM race, there was a little bit of a dry line that formed about 20 minutes, maybe 15 minutes into the race. And then all of a sudden, this torrential downpour came. I was close to getting into the 207s, which is fast for me. And then all of a sudden the rain came and I couldn't beat like a 210. It was crazy. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. As my first wet race on PC, big difference to a DD. Is it your first time using a DD as well? Yeah, PC is way better, man. Ever since I got into racing on PC, it's like black and white. I remember trying to race on my like Xbox wheel on my lap back in the day, and it just was so bad. I'll never go back to that, man. It was so bad. But yeah. A DD is definitely up on my list to purchase. I'll be doing that hopefully in the next couple months. It's definitely necessary. Yeah, it's definitely dry on 8-pack. A 204.4 is the fastest lap right now by T Brown. I think this is definitely a different ball game. And we'll see a little bit of. The problem is not as many drivers. There's 9 now, so I don't know how dry the line is gonna get with only that many cars out there. But I guess it remains to be seen. See, there you go. Mr. Ghost told you it'd be worth it. Oh, look at that. Biscotta doing a drift. Yeah. I told you, bro. You're going to do this and you're going to crush it this time because they have experience in the wet. You're going to get it a little bit drier. Drier line's going to form. This will be good. Alright, so briefing in 2 minutes. And right on stream, Biscotto goes into a wall. It seems like we may have had 10 people in here originally. It's hard to tell. Alright, briefing now. Alright. Yeah, Brown, Cryo, Porta. Let's see. Ah, there we go. Logan, Blythe, Rise. Alright, perfect. Everyone's in here. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And there's even a bonus person, which I'm trying to figure out who that is. Anyways, good enough. Thank you guys for being in here on time. I'm just going to power through this. Since I've already done it once, shouldn't take me too long. Number 1, race attendance. On SimGrid, there is a penalty for not showing up to the race if you do not withdraw. So if you are not going to show up for a race, please make sure you go into SimGrid and withdraw from the race. If you have any questions about that, or have any concerns about being able to do it based on limitations of emergencies or where you're from, just like let one of the admins know. We'll be pretty lenient on it, so it's not something you have to panic over, so just get in touch if that's an issue. In the qualifying session, we can't stress this enough. You cannot obstruct cars that are on a hot lap unless they are behind you. They're not your responsibility. The cars that are on a hot lap that are ahead of you, or if you're being blue flagged, they have the right of way. So if you're blue flagged, you must move over, get off the racing line, let them by with no problems. And if you are approaching a car that is on a hot lap and you are also on a hot lap, it is your responsibility to not interfere with them. It's your responsibility also to give enough space when starting your lap to ensure that you do not catch up to them. At the moment, there's only 9 of you out there. There might be 10. So there should be no reason that anyone meets up with each other doing a hot lap. Live penalties will be announced in the race VC if you do want to hear what the penalties are for and who they're who's involved. So just, I know some people wanted to know about that, so be in the race VC if you want to hear that. It's not mandatory. You can always go into your own VC after. All penalties on lap 1 will be judged as double the value. Please keep your cars parked in your pit stalls. I'm looking at the whole thing. Yeah, so if you get a 5-second penalty, it'll be judged as a 10-second penalty, and if you get a 10-second, it'll be a drive-through if it's a first lap penalty. If you lose control of your car, you are to hold the brakes until you safely stop, and you can safely rejoin. Please don't try and like overcorrect or be easy on the brake in case you can't control it and you spin out into another car. The best thing to do is just hold the brakes. If there's a car ahead of you that is losing control, it's also best if you just brake and slowly swerve rather than reacting quickly and possibly swerving into another car, especially on the first lap. So drop rounds as well. We have a drop round this season, so if you can't make it to a race, or you just have a poor race, it won't count. The top 7 races of your season will count towards the points. This goes for everyone, so don't worry if you have to miss one or you have a bad race. 1 car change per season. I want to remind you guys about this, especially with the new update coming out. If you decide the same week as the update that you want to change cars, and then you run it in our race, and then you decide you don't like it, that's too bad. You're stuck with it for the rest of the season. I suggest that if anyone's intending on switching to one of the new cars, that they give it a week, spend some time testing it, practice a little bit, and then decide if you actually want to change to it before making the decision. Because, yeah, if you don't like it, you're not switching back. You're stuck with it for the season. We have only 1 car change per season. When you are going to enter the pits, please try and stay to the right out of the chicane off of the racing lines. That way it gives space. You don't want someone thinking that you're slowing down or that you got a bad exit and try to pass you on the inside and risk any collisions there. It's just safest move, since that stretch of road is so short, is just to exit that chicane on the right and just enter the pit lane safely. There's only a handful of cars, a couple handfuls of cars out in this race, so there shouldn't be any issues on turn 1. The AM race on Wednesday had only 2 incidents reported for the whole thing, and the pro race had an actual red flag because of how many incidents there were. So let's try and make this more like the AM race. And if you have any confusion, the brake pedal is the one beside the one that makes you go. Other than that, I think that covers everything I need to know. If you have any specific questions, please put them in the EU general chat. And other than that, you guys can feel free to go out and run a couple laps in the last minute and 40 seconds. So good luck, have fun, and yeah, stay in this if you want to hear the penalties, or go into your own VC, whatever you want. Yeah, for Todd asking about the pit procedure. So the race is 50 minutes. There is a 46-minute pit window. So you cannot pit in the first 2 minutes and the last 2 minutes of the race, but you can pit everywhere between there. And then you only need to take 1 liter of fuel on your pit stop. You don't need to take tires. So pretty much throughout the entire race, you just go get your 1 liter of fuel, and you're secured for the race. The pit entrance is after that chicane in the third sector. So as you exit that chicane, the safest thing to do is stay on the same side of the road as the pit entrance.
Green light. Go, go, go.
Alright, good stuff. You guys have a good race. Good luck in quali. Okay, back to you guys, the viewers. Sorry I ignored you for so long, but here we go. We're gonna throw on... Who is out there right now? Who's on the track? 44. We got Mattia running out there in the grass, mowing lawns in the rain. So we'll watch him as... Oh, no, he's no longer the first. So now we're going to go watch... Looks like... 65. Does not have his livery. I didn't have it last race. How do you guys think this race is gonna go? Unfortunately, there's only 9 cars. Not a great turnout for the EU Championship. I'll have to look into that for the future. Alright. So... Sorry, I'm getting distracted again. So many things going on when you try and get these race streamed. I really gotta find myself a co-commentator for this in the future. Yeah, we're looking at Robert Logan out there. Still the first guy running his hot lap. So we'll see how he does. Don't worry about that delta on the screen right now. It doesn't really mean anything until they run a full lap. Yeah, Daniel, I totally agree. The size of the grid can make a huge difference. I mean, the one thing about a smaller grid is it does get a little boring for some guys, and you tend to drop your pace a little bit when you don't see anyone else to compete with. I know for me specifically, I lose a lot of pace when there's not other cars on track. I tend to do very, very well when I have a rabbit to chase. Or if I know that someone's pushing on me, then I'll do better. But if I'm alone, I will lose 2 to 3 seconds a lap, even more depending on how bad it is. So it is really interesting to see how it'll go. I know that we're working on getting some more EU drivers in here, so next week it should be a bit better. I know last week I think there was like 17. The other thing I noticed too is I just think people don't really like the rain races as much. And I think they were seeing the conditions leading up to today and were thinking that it was going to be a lot worse than it is. Which is unfortunate. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Honestly, I don't know. Anyways, let's move on to a different driver. And we'll see. We'll see. Where is the, oh, there we go. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to find all my programs that I've opened for this. So let's look at, so Todd Brown, he's qualified with a 2:05.0, which is pretty damn good. And then Mattia Porta is a 26.5. So that's a pretty significant gap. That's a 1.5 second gap. So either Todd Brown is really, really, really fast, and he's also on track to beating his own time right now, or everyone else is just having a bad lap. 1.5 seconds is pretty significant for these guys in the top end of the pack. Looks like Chris Rise hasn't yet to run any laps. Hopefully he gets up there soon. For those watching that don't know, we actually have a rule that you have to set a qualifying lap to the best of your ability. So hopefully he goes out there and does a lap soon, because he's running out of time. I mean, he might start in the back of the pack anyways, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, it looks like he's going out now. And Blythe hasn't set a valid lap either, so hopefully he can hold this one together right now. Let's go check out David on his lap. Let's see if he can hold this one together and actually set himself a valid lap. John Boscato hasn't set one either, unfortunately. He's out there though. He's trying to get one in right now. We'll see what David gets here as he goes through the final sector of the track. And he is going to set a Lap of 2:11.9, so he's going to have to really make up some time there to be competitive with the rest of the pack. I'm sure that's just a warm-up for him, but we'll see how he does. Now look at Biscotto here. He's halfway through the second sector, the outrageously long second sector. And we'll see what he gets. Looks like he's invalid right now, which is unfortunate, so hopefully his next lap he gets one in. But he's cutting it pretty close to set a valid lap. Looks like Mattia has got himself into the 205s now, so he's not quite a second and a half off yet, but Cryo in P3 is still struggling to get a good lap, and he's changed his car from the Porsche. Earlier today in the APAC race, he was driving the Porsche. Now he's going to jump into this Punk, and as he sets himself a competitive 205.3, so he's right there in P2. He claims that spot, which is not bad at all. He's obviously got to take a few laps to get used to the feeling of this car. Blythe sandbagging, he can go faster. I don't think he's deliberate. That was his first valid lap, so I think that was a warm-up lap. So if we hop on with Blythe right now, he's probably doing much better. He's 7 points, 9 points up, a second up. Got Porta putting the pressure on him. Hopefully Porta does not try and find an opportunity to do an overtake. Good stuff. Porta's backing off, getting ready to prep his spacing out for the next lap. We'll have to probably leave quite a lot of space, as he is very fast. So there you go, he's moving up a little bit. Still not quite competitive, but he's climbing up there a little bit at a time. So let's go take a look at Todd, who is honestly just going to keep beating his own lap. And he's at a 204.6, so again, he's now 7 points up on Cryo. I think that there is a dry line. There must be a dry line forming if he's making these improvements. He's 0.4 up on his lap. He already has the best lap. He'll be, if he gets this one done, he's going to be well over a second ahead of Cryo. And that's just insane. Absolutely insane. Hey, Mr. Ghost, if you feel like someone is sandbagging, then you can feel free to report it, but I have a feeling that he's not doing that deliberately. Wow, this guy's 0.5, almost 0.6 up as he goes through this middle portion of Sector 2. So, Todd Brown is also on track to setting... Oh, sorry. I looked away for a second, and it looks like Cryo set 4/100ths faster of a lap than Todd Brown, but Todd Brown is now 7 points up on his lap as he crosses the line with a 2:03.9, and that is half a second or more above Phil. So these guys keep setting the bar higher and higher. So just to give you guys some context, I'm going to list off the top 5 times right now on the grid. A 2:03.9, so pretty much rounding up, we'll call it 2:04. Then a 2:04.6, 2:05.1, 2:05.7, 2:06.7, 2:07.4, 2:08, and a 2:11. They're going up by almost a half a second to a second each. So huge gaps between all these drivers. The disparity is going to be huge here. That's for sure. All right. So we are set now. Todd Brown, Phil Krauthios, Gabriel Bizzi, Mattia Porta, Jonathan Biscotto, Micah Lehoff, if I'm saying that totally wrong, probably. Robert Logan, David Blythe, and Chris Rise. Guess Chris Rise didn't get any good laps in. 'Tis unfortunate. So we'll just wait for the session to close. Sometimes it take a little while between. And I'll just throw an intermission screen for a moment while I sort out these last few things before we get right into the race.
You made a monster. You made a monster.
Alright, we have some good conditions. Watch out for curbs and exit, and remember to brake early.
You made a monster.
All right, so they are now leaving the line to go on their formation lap. So just run through this grid real quick with you guys, just so you can see who everyone is. So they're in P1 in that purple BMW. You have Todd Brown. Then following him, you have Phil Krauthius in the Aston Martin there. Mattia Porta in the yellow Porsche. Gabriel Crepizzi, I said that wrong the first time, Crepizzi, as in the black Ferrari, potentially doesn't have his livery uploaded properly. And then next we have Jonathan Biscotto in that red BMW. Then Micah Lehoff in the Aston. Robert Logan in the green and black Ferrari. David Blythe in the black Aston Martin. And Chris Rise in the black Audi starting at the back. So as I said before, the white numbers are the Pro class and the red numbers are the AM class. So that way you can see the competition isn't too fierce out there. These guys are all going to be within a decent level of points for their championships. Alright. Pulling an all-nighter to do 2 commentary races for other continents that I am not a part of is definitely putting some drained energy levels, let's say. So I apologize for that, but I think once this race gets going, I'll be fully focused on that unless I get any crazy DMs in the background. As you can see from the top right of your screen, those are all the sponsors. Odyssey Racing League is sponsored by IMB Racewear, ACC Drive, ACC TV, Esports Gear, Esports Furniture, as well as Go Setups and Rogue Energy. Go Setups is one of probably the most used of the partnerships we have. Almost everyone that races in Odyssey Racing League uses Go Setups, as far as I know, at least of most of the regulars. They are the best setups in ACC by a long shot. Their slogan is Go Fast, Go Setups, and it's for a reason. You just set it, and you go. And they are great. So as we come around the final turn before the start straight, everyone's in formation. We're going to go on the helicam of Jonathan Biscotto as he's right in the middle of the pack. So hopefully we get the best point of reference from him, and they are green and on their way. So we'll see how clean turn 1 is going to be. Brown is definitely holding that inside line tight. Hopefully Cryo blocking off Cryo's chance of getting that. 3 wide, and Biscotto managed to kind of close the door on those guys. Robert Logan had a bit of a yellow, but no one's really messed up. Jonathan Biscotto goes off really wide. There's a bit of a dodgy rejoin there, but ended up okay. So nothing too bad. A lot of position shuffling. A lot of off tracks going on here. Kind of tough to call, but seems like overall that was a clean bit. So Blythe and Logan have landed in the back. Biscotto's in 7th, even though he had a very good start. Chris Rise has fallen down a place, or gained a couple places, then fell back down. He's in 6th, battling with Biscotto. So that's a little bit tough to call back and forth there. Micah is in 5th. Gabriel, in 4th. Phil in 3rd, Mattia 2nd, and Todd in first. Mattia had a good approach on Phil in the first turn. Daniel Edwards spin in T1. I missed it. Obviously, I don't know who it was because I don't have all the records of that, unfortunately. So we're gonna watch Biscotto and Rise battle it out here. This is very close. Biscotto is not letting Rise out of his sights, leaving no space, no room for Rise to make an error. And it's worth noting this fight is not for position, so it's very interesting to see the dedication from Biscotto to try and take this place from Rise. And he has the inside, seems like he's going to get a better line as long as he keeps tight on the exit. And Chris will not be able to get the overtake there. That was a good pass by Jonathan. We'll look at Robert and David in the back. They're kind of going at it a little bit. David just lost his position to Robert a moment ago. But we'll see how they carry through with this. Seems I should be using the other TV cam, get a bit of a wider angle there. And then Robert loses it and goes into the wall, and that's pretty early into the lap, so he's gonna have to drive almost a whole lap before he decides to pit. And I'm sure after a hit like that, you're probably gonna consider going for an early pit stop. Yeah, given that it's a little bit of a slower pace he's got going on there. Alright, so up to the top of the grid we got Phil chasing down Mattia, so we'll see how this goes. Funny enough, last race Phil was in a Porsche and he was having a battle with a front engine BMW, so this is kind of like a reverse where he's now the front engine chasing down the Porsche. So we'll see how this goes for him. Getting a draft down the start straight. Is he going to go for the outside? Maybe he's going to try and do a little bit of an undercut. And we'll see here if he can even make that stick. Mattia does go a little bit wide, so Crow's going to get that wide line to get a little bit of a jump start. Going on the outside of turns 2 and 3. Not quite enough to stick it though. The Porsche's got the acceleration, but the Aston has the distance speed, so you know, right out of the turns the Porsche is going to crush the Aston, but when they get into the straights the Aston's going to have a lot of pace and then a lot of potential to get the draft. So we'll see how they do down this bit here towards the back end of the track, and then they'll come through the little fast bits leading up into the third sector there as they get out and go straight up the hill. So the Aston's going for the outside, doesn't quite stick it. Doesn't have quite enough room to stay on the track fully there, so had to bail a little bit out of that one, unfortunately. I think Porta's really gonna make Cryo really work for this one. And this is the part here where Cryo should have a bit of an advantage, and he gets the pass as Porta was definitely riding into the grass a little bit too much. So now Cryo's gonna have a chance to kind of run away with this, and we'll see how much farther ahead he can get with this car. Going through the chicane and coming up to the last turn before the start straight. Let's see how far he pulls away from the Porsche here, especially given that this is better territory for something like the Aston. Well, it seems that the Porsche is holding it pretty close. Looks like we have David Blythe going for a early pit stop right now. He was 8 seconds behind. So, probably not a bad idea for him.
Car number 65 is receiving a 5-second penalty for forcing number 57 off the track.
Hopefully y'all heard that, but the penalty being issued for 65 for forcing another car off the track. Not ideal when you're sitting there in last place. Still third in this class, so it's a guarantee for some good points. But yeah, not an ideal penalty to get. It's a shame for Logan that he got that penalty after his pit. He could have served in his pit stop when he was doing the damage, and he probably would have barely noticed the impact of it on his overall race. But should be alright. He's got his pit stop done. He's 28 seconds behind Blythe. Who knows how far behind he is from someone else, so maybe he's got a chance here to amend. And hopefully someone else has a spin out or a really long pit stop, and we'll see what happens with him as the race goes on. It's still too early to really make a call on that one. You got 40 minutes left, 10 minutes of the race done. Your leader is Brown, second place Phil Cryothios, and third Mattia Porta. So lots of time to see what's going to happen here. Todd's fastest lap right now is a 2:04.05, which is pretty stinking good. You know, that's a really, really good lap for him. For anyone on this track right now. He's really, really pulling away from Cryo. Cryo was, right at the moment, he's 7.5 seconds behind Todd, and it seems that the gap has grown quite a lot. So we'll see if Cryo can really pull up his socks on this one and try and close that gap. Be very, very tough to do. Alright, let's move on here to Gabriel, who's 1.5 seconds behind Mattia. At the moment, that is the closest gap on the grid. So we'll focus on that for a moment and see if any pace is gained in between them, or if it just continues to grow. As the grid spreads out, I may just hop over to the auto cam just to kind of let it showcase who it feels deserves some attention. Yeah, these gaps are continuing to grow. Jonathan Biscotto is the second, 1.3 behind Micah. So, watch this one for a moment. Yeah, Biscotto's closing up that gap. He does have quite a bit of pace. The BMW is a quick car. It looks like Micah did go off the track a bit, which allowed for Biscotto to close that gap a little bit more and maybe actually get a better exit of that turn down this straight and get a good draft as well. So he's looking for the gap. He's flashing, which is technically against the rules, but you know, so Micah has no obligation to give him that position from flashing, so we'll have to throw a warning out about that. Unless the stewards happen to catch it, that is. So it looks like Biscotto ended up getting that position anyways. He obviously did have more pace. You know, he's pretty quick in comparison. So impressive. He's faster than two of the pro class drivers. So we'll go and move on to someone else now. Looks like this is still kind of the closest gap on the track at the moment, Micah, if you look at his perspective. But I think this is really only going to be growing at this point. So like I said, I'll probably just throw on the auto cam. In a moment anyways. Okay, so Micah's going for his pit stop a little bit earlier into the race. I don't know if it's just me, but it looked like he kind of just glitched into the spot. I might have to watch a longer replay. Unless he just left the race. Yeah, he may have just left the race, unfortunately. Not exactly sure what happened to him, if he lost connection or what. Alright, so I'm gonna go and throw on the autopilot for a little bit. Let's see what it picks up. And this is the closest battle on the screen right now anyways. This Porsche being chased down by the Ferrari. So you'll probably see a little bit of this on the auto cam. Once the gap gets a little closer, then I'll spend more time giving it some attention. "20 minutes done in this race so far." You have Todd Brown there in, where is he? They're going first. Phil Carthios, yeah, losing a bit of time there. He was 7.5 seconds behind. Now he's 9 seconds behind. Second place in the Aston. Mattia Porta in third. Gabriel Crepizzi in that Ferrari in fourth. Jonathan Biscotto in fifth. Chris Rise in sixth. David Blythe in seventh. And Robert Logan struggling back there but pulling through in eighth with this 5-second penalty. He is quite far behind, but I admire the dedication. He's almost halfway through the race, so he's not got much longer to go. Looks like Chris is going to take his pit, so we have all the AMs have pit now, and the pros are starting to get their pits done. So see, Rise may come out in 7th, potentially, unless he can hold at 6th and come up before Blythe. No, so it looks like Chris is going to come out in 7th. Power. It's another one. So it's 20 minutes left in the race. I need to do some stuff after, so 20 minutes, 30 to 40 minutes. Sorry for the lack of commentary, guys. There's just not a lot of action going on, so I'm just gonna kind of let the auto cam do its thing, and then at the end, until the end of the race, and then and that way these guys can watch it after. So I'm just gonna let that go, and that's it. Yeah. So I'll just stay silent for the rest of it. You guys can enjoy the race, see how it goes, let the auto cam do its thing. It seems to be cycling the different drivers okay. I'll just maybe adjust some parameters on it just to make sure. Look, Prezi has a bit of a spin there on screen, as you see. But due to the gaps, he seems that he'll be okay for holding that position until the end of the race. Actually, only 7. Rise has ditched the race and he's parked in the pits. I don't know why he's doing that, because he's going to get no points for that anyways. So yeah, only 7 cars left. It started with 9, 1 guy left, and 1 guy is parked in the pits. So we have 3 AMs and 4 pros.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all again.
Yeah, not good. Not really good to have it like this. But it is what it is. At least these guys can watch the race back later on. And it seems that even my stream is very delayed for some reason. It's interesting that with YouTube, when there's a delay in the live stream, instead of just resuming live, it goes back to like where it started losing connection. So I end up being like a minute behind on my preview.
The leader has finished the race.
Alright, there you go. T Brown is your winner for the round 2 of the EU race at Nürburgring. Congratulations. And then in P2 you have Bill Krauthios, who just went off screen there. And coming around the final turn we will have Porta, as he crosses the line as well. And we'll just wait for everyone to finish up. And get them all a little spot on camera here at the end. And then we'll shut her down. So around the last turn now is Gabriel Perpizzi, as he crosses the line in 4th. for the pro class. Then you got Jonathan Biscotto. He's going to be first place in the AM class, 5th overall. Then we got David Blythe going to come around the last straight there. Bit of a ways away. Good stud. Yes, Shadow, good stud. I know you meant stuff, I don't think I'm going to drop this one. Good stud. Blythe coming around the last turn there. He's going to finish the race in 7th overall. 2nd out of the AMs. Good stud to David Blythe. And Robert Logan still has to come around the final turn there. With his wicked D&D livery. And he comes around the last turn down the straight and across the line. Good stud to Robert Logan. Good job to all the racers. I'll just spare you guys any time, and we'll just cut her short today without any interviews or advertisements and such. Yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you very much for watching, for those of you who were here. And we'll catch you guys in a few days when we start back up Tuesday for the West Coast Championship. And you guys have a good rest of your day, good night, wherever you are in the world. Have a good one. And we'll see you guys on, we'll see you guys on Tuesday for the West Coast Championship. Cheers.
I'm getting freaky, yeah, I'm a